This is the camera section of tonight's show, and I couldn't be happier to present to you Canon's XA25. And as I mentioned earlier, it's the least expensive camcorder with this feature right here. This is a BNC connection. It's an hd-sdi output. Totally awesome. $26.99, $2,700 for a camcorder with dual XLR inputs, hd-sdi output, first time ever. Blown away by that. Blown away by that. Now, is this the end-all be-all of cameras? Is it going to defeat Canon's, CF, your Canon C100? Not exactly. But it will give you a killer camera, small package, small price, hd-sdi output. Additionally, it's got a little brother, the XA20. Now, the XA20 doesn't have the SDI output, but it's got nearly all of the other features that we're going to discuss today. One thing that our buddy Jeff Simica from Canon wanted me to mention, and if you can come close on camera one for this is a big deal, built-in lens cap. All right, it even says Canon on it. So one fantastic feature of the camera, captive lens cap. You're not going to have to worry about losing your lens cap again. But seriously, let's get real here, all right? You've got two SDHC slots, which means you can either do a relay record where card 1 fills up and you start recording on card 2, or even better, you can do a dual record. You hit record once, and it's recording the same footage on both cards, so that you're getting an immediate backup. Check this out right here. Here's my dual card slot. I'll flip this up. I could put 2 cards in and either record video on 1 when 1 fills up, go back to 2, or I could record to 1 and 2 simultaneously so that I get an automatic backup of my data and I don't have to worry if something goes wrong with one card before I get it, archived onto some kind of hard drive. Something else you want to know about these SDHC cards is that you can assign whether the camera works as a still camera as well as a camcorder. And if you wanted to say, shoot all your video to one card and shoot all your stills to another, you can assign that in software. You can say, all right, all my video should go on card A, and anytime I hit the photo button, it should store a still photo on card B. So if you have to do something like wedding videography, where you're doing lots of videos and still want to pull a still out of it, you can do so. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. Now, my buddy Cliff Totten wrote in before the show and said, Jesse, I've done a lot of research on this camera, and I wanted to make sure that I can shoot in manual mode, where I'm affecting the shutter, the gain, the exposure, and the focus all in manual. And well, you can achieve that. It's a little bit of a trick, so let me show you now some of the features inside the camera to achieve what Mr. Cliff is after. First, let's go close on one. I want to just show you this dial right here. Can you see that? All right. So once the camera's on, you've got 3 options to select. You've got automatic way at the top. There's automatic. Right in the middle is manual, and at the bottom is cine, okay? This show is going to focus mostly on automatic and manual. If you want to shoot in cine, we mentioned the camera earlier for you. It's the C100 from Canon. A little bit more expensive, but it's got that super 35mm sensor. That is the way to shoot cine, all right? We're going to just take a brief pause here and check in with Debbie with a question coming in from the internet.
Yes. Fur wants to know if there's a PAL version available.
That is a great question. Thank you for asking. Is there a PAL version of the camera available? Pretty likely. Canon does a lot of releasing a camera in NTSC and releasing a camera in PAL. So we'll double check to be sure, but yeah, Canon wouldn't leave you out. All right? It's important to note that this camera, apart from doing 59.94, can also do 30p and 24p. So if you find yourself in Europe or South America, just shoot in 24p. Right? Or get the PAL version, either way, whatever works for you. Right, so we mentioned we're going to shoot in manual and we're going to shoot in automatic. Right now, to address Mr. Cliff Totten's questions, we're going to keep the camera mostly in manual mode. When I'm in manual mode, I can take full advantage of peaking. Peaking allows me to put a little red outline or yellow or blue around whatever happens to be in focus. Okay? Of course, I could send the thing into autofocus, ask it to detect faces for me, and it'll track faces and always stay focused on them, but that's not really the style of video production that I do. I do some more kind of video production that requires everything to be in manual, just like Cliff does. And so let's check out the output, please, of the Canon XA25. There we are. All right, you'll notice that f1.8, it's blinking. It doesn't think I've got quite enough light in this image. You'll notice under 4 decibels of gain, I'm in manual focus. So One way to get here, I've assigned this pane to a user button, but another way to get here is by going into the function and going into record programs. There it is. So my record programs are manual exposure with aperture priority, manual exposure with shutter priority, and programmed automatic exposure. So you might think that manual is where you want to go. In manual, you certainly can set an iris value, okay? You can set a shutter value and set your gain value. So in that sense, yes, those three items are all manual. However, when I select this manual exposure mode, and I just go back to shooting, you do see that my iris is at a 2.8, my shutter's at 1/60th, and my gain is at 0 decibels. That's pretty good for indoor shooting. I'm trying to turn the little iris dial down here, and I can't get nothing. I cannot affect my iris dial. And that's because I'm in manual mode. But in manual mode, you actually have to preset what your iris value is. Not very handy for a news gathering kind of guy that's got to be changing his own iris. And so if you need to do that yourself, let's go back to the camera just for a moment, please. You're going to go to aperture priority. Shutter priority will work as well, but I like aperture priority here. We jump into aperture priority. You notice that you can start it off somewhere special. We're at a 1.8, but I'm going to just close it down to a 2.0. I'm going to start it in an f2.0, get out of this screen, and now when I press my manual exposure button, you see that I've got a plus minus indicator right under that AVF 2.0. Now when I change, now as I roll my iris dial, I can in fact affect the iris manually. So you'll set your gain ahead of time, right? And jump back into this screen, and if you need to change your exposure, you can just roll your iris dial. So can you set those three items to be manual individually? Yes, you can, but it takes a little bit of doing, okay? Let's go now to Debbie with a question coming in from the internet.
Cliff wants to know if it shoots 60p.
Cliff, that is a great question. Thank you for asking, and of course, thank you for watching. Yes, this camera will shoot in 60p. It's in a special AVC codec that records at 28 megabits per second in 5994p. All right? Now that we're talking about codecs, it's a good time to mention this camera and its little brother, the XA20, can both record in either AVC HD, but it can also record directly to the MP4 codec. Very cool. So if you wanted to, you could give your friends the SDHC card with MP4 on it so that they can play it in anybody's laptop. Pretty cool, pretty nifty little feature, dual codec. All right? Let's talk about focus just for a moment here. And if you would, go on back to the output of the camera, please. It says MF on the middle left of your screen, manual focus. All right? So I could zoom in, and I'm out of focus until I turn the wheel, and I'm in focus now. And it tells me that I'm about 8.2 feet away. That's a distance meter to tell you roughly how far away your focus is. That's really cool. And then I can zoom back. But what if I wanted to capture a focus without having to zoom in? Check out this really cool feature in the menu, all right? It is called Focus Assist. And it is, all right. Oh, did you see it already? Yeah? All right, let's go back to Focus Assist. You should notice that I'm not only using the touch screen OLED monitor to find this, but there's also a little joystick on the right-hand side, right by the record button. So two really easy ways of getting around the menu systems here. I was just going too fast, huh? You saw it? Yes! Focus, no, what we want is Focus Assist. So it's not in here, it must be in the camera. Yes, okay. So Focus Assistance right now is set to off. Let's jump in here, let's change Focus Assistance to on, okay? So now, when I want to change my focus wheel, you'll just have to trust me that I'm not pressing any buttons. I'm actually just operating the focus wheel, and it automatically jumps into this Focus Assistance mode, which zoomed in about 50%. So when I'm done changing the focus wheel, did it jump back, or am I crazy? Yeah, so, oh, you don't see it on the output. I'll tell you what. Let's go to camera 1, please. Okay, can you get this? Can you get my little LCD viewfinder? Yes, okay. Now, Watch my hand. I'm not pressing any buttons. I'm just going to grab this focus wheel. As soon as I change the focus, you see that it jumps in 50%. It automatically zooms in to give you that sort of expanded focus feature you've seen on other camcorders. Now, I haven't seen a way to do this manually yet. Haven't seen a way to do it manually. You could turn it off if you're not interested in the feature, or you could turn it on, and when it's on, anytime you operate that ring, bam, it doubles in, and it gives you that expanded focus look so you can see whether or not your image is in focus. Pretty sweet. We could always assign the turning on and turning off the focus assist to a user button, of course. That would give you an easy way of turning on or off the expanded focus every time you touch the ring. At this time, we're going to just jump over to Debbie again with a question coming in from the internet.
Yeah. Is the auto exposure compensation limited to +or-1 stop, or can it also do +or-2 stop?
Auto exposure, what would we call that? Limiting. So I'm going to go down to 1.5, 2 stops, 3 stops. I can go pretty deep right here. So I was able to close up 3 stops of light. If in this particular setting, not the best, because we lost our image. Check out our camera for a moment. So turning the wheel, going down, going down, going down, all the way to 3 complete stops. Pretty good. Image not so great, but that's not what we're after. All right, underneath the manual focus, you'll see that my facial recognition is on. That allows me to find a face in the crowd, get a little focus going. Woo! Get a little focus going, and are we doing facial detection? Let's turn manual focus into autofocus. Once I'm in autofocus, you see that I'm tracking faces. All right, as you may remember from our, what was it, an HVR, maybe a PMW 100. No, it was the Canon XF25 introduction about 1.5 years ago when we first saw this facial tracking feature famously, and we said, you can lock right onto a face. Kind of makes you want to fire a missile, doesn't it? Okay, all right, let's jump out of here. Below manual and automatic focus, we're going to turn that back into manual focus because we're manual guys here. You see a little white balance indicator. White balance. This camera does a great job of handling white balance. You could get it right out of its regular function menu just by coming down to white balance. There are other ways to get there, but let's just use this one for ease of use. Right now you see I'm down on memory position 1. There's also a memory position 2. If you are used to using A and B for your memory positions, you go to A for lighting condition A, zoom in on something white, hit a button. Let's hit the button here, and then set your white balance. We'll do an automatic white balance, and it found that I'm about 4400K. Great. So we'll set the white balance there. Next, we could go into another position and store another white balance value. So that way you can easily change between white balance position 1 and white balance position 2. Let's say one of them's inside, then you walk outside, and that's your outside. Of course, you can also see that you've got up here automatic white balance to track, so you don't have to worry about it. You've got an outdoor, you've got a shady, a cloudy, and the extremely important K. What is K good for? That allows you to dial in increments of 100 degrees Kelvin, your own white balance. So if you know better than the automatic feature does, use this K and dial in your own white balance. That's something that you see in some of their more sophisticated cameras like the C300. Pretty sweet, right? Okay. You'll see in the top right-hand corner, we're at 5994, 17 megabits per second AVC HD. But if you wanted to change that, you could change your recording format. We're in AVC. As I mentioned before, we could go to MP4. Once you're in MP4, you have the option to change your recording mode. So I could record all the way up to 35 megabits per second in MP4. Now that value only goes to 28 megabits per second when we're in AVC HD. Is that important? Maybe yes, maybe no, but you see that it's 5994p, that 60p that Mr. Totten was asking about. Cliff Totten, by the way, is joining us from Discovery Channel. Thank you for tuning in and for your hard-hitting questions. We always appreciate them.
Yes, another one.
Okay, let's go to Debbie with a question coming from Mr. Cliff Totten.
Is the SDI 420 or 422?
That's a great question. You know, I was asking the same question myself and doing my damnedest to get the research done on that. My understanding, we're recording at 420, but the output, hd-sdi, is going to be 422. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I just can't see why Canon would add SDI output if it was a 420 color space. So we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt until we can prove otherwise.
And Hans Peter would like to know, does it have zebra?
Hans, great question. Thank you for asking. Does it have zebra? You bet your zebra butt it does. Check this out. we're going to jump out of the function mode. We're going to go into our manual exposure menu. And you'll notice over here, first we're going to turn manual exposure on. Right? That allows us to bring the iris up and down. Then I'm going to come over here to the zebra menu. I can turn zebras on, and then I can decide whether the zebras are going to be 70% or 100%. All right? So some people like them at 70, some people like them at 100. Some people like them in other values. You can't really get those other values on this camera. All right? 70 and 100. So now, one segment of our audience is strictly the manual focus, manual exposure, turn on my zebra type of guy. But there's another segment of our audience, and those are the guys that just need to get 4 cameras that are going to work and are going to have hd-sdi so they can connect to your TriCaster 455. To them, they want white balance to be automatic. They want focus to be automatic. They want gain to be automatic. They don't even want to know what gain is, all right? And for you, my friends, we have a solution. You may remember from earlier in the show, we just switched this little indicator from manual to automatic. And now, I love to host shows, but you may or may not know from previous shows, I'm a terrible camera operator. So, Verge, if you'll one more time just entreat me, go back to the camera, there we are. That's a terrible image, right? That doesn't look so great. That's because I'm the operator. However, if I put the camera into automatic and let the camera work itself, big changes. Now, all of a sudden, you can see stuff. So a little status menu, okay, I don't have a memory card in, but look how nice and bright it is. Look how you can pretty much see my audience, right? So if you don't like struggling to get it exactly right, go ahead and put the camera on automatic. I won't tell anybody, all right? So we went over the manual mode. We went over the automatic mode. There's one further mode that we should really discuss. And in order to do this, I'm going to have to turn off some lights. Okay, dark room, hard to see stuff until I activate infrared mode. Fantastic, all right? You're shooting Big Brother and you want to see in the dark, no problem. We've got a mode for you. It's infrared, okay? And it says right now my infrared light is off, so if I wanted to, boop, turn the infrared light on. Doesn't have much effect here because I'm getting plenty of infrared bounce from my studio lighting. But if we were outside in the dark, trust me, that infrared lighting would be a big deal. And so let's just cut to camera 1 for a second. Where the infrared light comes from is right here, right underneath the lens. That is an IR emitter. And lastly, just one more time for Mr. Jeff Sibica, let's not forget the captive Canon-branded lens cap that you will never lose. All right, if you guys have more questions about the Canon XA25, please give us an email, give us a call, come on in for your own personalized Canon XA25 demo, maybe rent one from the Midtown Video Rental Department, or join us at our next show, sign into the chat room and send your question to Debbie and have it answered live on the air. All right? The Canon XA25, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic.